Poles are, as I say, a little bit crazy, very emotional, but very lovely in that kind of being so extrovert. I would very much say that Poland belongs to the West. I feel that Poland is the second home country for me. I have spent here so many years, and I feel pretty integrated through that I know the language and I know the culture.
Hi, I'm Agnieszka Łaszczuk, and this is the external service of Polish radio. And today I have the pleasure of hosting Finland's ambassador to Poland, Päivi Laine. We're honored to welcome you to the studio.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ambassador, you're leaving your Warsaw posting soon. I'm planning to talk about that a little bit later.
Okay.
And first, if we may, let's go back in time a little. Actually, your connection to Poland goes back a long way, doesn't it? You were an exchange student here in the late 90s. You were in Kraków and here in Warsaw as well. What was that like, coming from Finland to Poland in the late communist era? Did you choose Poland yourself, or did it happen by chance?
Well, it's actually, yes, my history with Poland goes back a long time, and I was here for the first time in 1984. And the reason, maybe the primary reason why I came to Poland was horses, because it was possible at that time. Poland was the only country in Europe where you could apply to go to have a little summer job with horses. And I have been interested in horses all my life, more or less. So I did that. And I ended up at the Warsaw racetrack. And we don't have that kind of racehorses at all in Finland. So it was all new. But it was like a paradise for a horse lover, because there were like 800 horses around you, Arabians and thoroughbreds, and I could ride as much as I wanted. And I really loved it.
And what was Poland like back then, under communism? What memories do you have?
Yeah, I can see you are so young. You don't have any memories from that time.
No. Actually, no. And you also told me off the record that it's not your first time here in Polish radio. I mean, maybe it's not your first time as a guest, but in the sense that you were here also in the 80s as a student.
Yes. Well, Poland was very different. Poland was much poorer country. It was very grey, and I was sort of like very innocent, and I had been to Nordic countries before I came to Poland, and I'm kind of a person that I don't worry too much in advance, so I just sort of like flew here, and I thought, okay, I will manage in English, and that will be it. But then, as I always say to people, that the horses couldn't understand me in Finnish or English, so I had to learn Polish. But I mean, and it was true, but it was also true that at the racetrack there were mostly no people who spoke foreign languages. There were some students who did the same as me. We were so-called amateur riders, so we did exercise riding in the mornings. And I mean, they're still my really good friends. So it's been a great travel with them. And so it was quite poor in that sense that I have been using rationing cards to buy kielbasa, and for many things you had to queue up. But and that was something very new for me, because obviously in Finland you didn't do those things. But I was young and I was excited, and the horses were just so beautiful. And I also fell in love with Polish people, because somehow I felt that I belonged here. We were
that's amazing.
Soul sisters, and I, even though it was poor times in Poland, but it was really great. So then I kept coming back and back. But if I may say, because there is one also, I would say, funny fact about my life before that, because my first encounters with Poland were with some TV series, because they started to show when I was a small kid went to school in 1970s. They started to show Czterej Pancerni Pies, they showed Karino, they showed Janosik in Finnish TV, and first of all, I fell in love with Sharik, and after that, Poland had a different meaning for me. So it's a long history of mine with Poland, and then I always, to end this part of the story, say that my name is Päivi Laine, so my initials are PL. That's, of course, the initials of your country. So
That's really
I say
symbolic,
that it's
I
all
have to
written
tell
in
you.
the stars.
Yes,
I belong
yes.
here.
It sounds so, definitely. So you first saw Poland under communism, then you returned as a diplomat in 2007, and again in 2022. You've been ambassador here since 2022. That is 3 very different Polands. What is the biggest change you've noticed over those 3 decades? And maybe what surprisingly has stayed the same?
Well, I think the people have stayed, not, of course, all the same, but basically Poles are, as I say, a little bit crazy, very emotional, but very lovely in that kind of being so extrovert and lively people. I like that very much. But then, of course, Poland and Warsaw have changed physically so much. From that grey, poor socialist country, Poland has become such a modern and dynamic place. And this is something what I always explain to Finns, especially those who haven't been here, that you should really appreciate the quick development of Poland. And I also tell this to my Polish friends that, look, maybe you don't understand it, but it has happened really quickly in 35 years that this country has really gone through very thorough transformation. And it's just great to see it. Poland's economy is doing so well now, much better than our economy. And when you look at the infrastructure, of course, the roads, Polish roads, even last time around when I was here as a diplomat, it was a nightmare to drive, especially north-south directions. There were no motorways, and it was so slow and painstaking to travel through Poland. And now you have these fantastic roads that take you everywhere very quickly.
Ambassador, you said yourself that you had to learn Polish because horses could understand you, but maybe some other people, of course, didn't. And I know you speak Polish fluently. This is really impressive. And I wanted to ask you, have you ever had a funny false friend situation, a word that meant something completely different from what you intended? My friend told me that there are many false friends in Polish and Finnish.
Yes, but mainly I don't think it has happened to me that I have used sort of like
a false friend. It was about something.
It was just that I have said very many very funny things in different situations. Of course, when you're learning the language, and even now, sometimes it's just when I can't think of a real word, I just make it up, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But there are it's maybe words like matka in Finnish means a journey, or kotka is an eagle, orzeł.
Yes.
So I mean, these are very funny, and but it makes, I mean, languages are so interesting, and it's
to me
great.
too.
Yes.
To me too, as a philologist. And do you have any favorite Polish words or expressions? Does anything come to mind now?
Skombinować used to be the word that we used a lot in the old times.
And kombinować doesn't have a really good English equivalent.
No,
that is true. This
and
is very Polish.
It's something very Polish. But I know that you don't have to kombinować so much anymore. So, but there are all kinds of expressions, but that's maybe something that came to my mind right now. So that's very Polish.
Yes, yeah, definitely. I also read that you lived in the UK, Latvia, Russia and Ukraine. That's quite a list, I need to admit. Where does Poland fit in that experience? Would you say now, is it closer to the West, or does it still feel like somewhere in between?
I would very much say that Poland belongs to the West. This today's modern Poland. And I know that Polish people have always wanted to be part of the West, and that also helps.
That's been
in
our
that
aspiration,
sense. Yeah,
definitely.
Exactly. But then, of course, you are also part of the Slavic countries, and that unites you to the other Slavic countries. But but all those countries and nations are, of course, very different. And I think it's interesting to compare, especially Ukrainians and Poles, in that sense that I think, to me, I feel that Ukrainians are in that sense closer to Finns, that they are calmer than Poles.
And what other cultural differences have you noticed between our nation societies, between Finns and Poles? And how do those cultural differences play out in daily life? Yeah, what have you noticed? What do you see?
Well, for me, because I have such a long experience in Poland, they don't play a big role because I'm so used to the Polishness of the people. But I think this is one of maybe the biggest ones, that because we Finns, we are very calm. Well, okay, we are all individuals, but in general terms, if we speak. So Finns are very calm. We don't like to speak a lot. And as we said after COVID, that we were so happy that we could go to our usual 5 meters between people instead of this 2, what they demanded us to do during the COVID times. Whereas Poles are sort of like much more social. They speak a lot. And something what has always fascinated me is this little bit explosive nature of Poles. But in that sense, it's great because I can still even see it when I go to my friends' places and we have a lot of like gathering of people, that somebody might get upset and really angry and even leave the table. And I'm like, okay, what's going to happen? And then after 5 minutes, this person returns and it's like nothing happened. So I in this country, I very much feel that you can have different opinions and you can argue, but it doesn't get in between the people. Whereas in Finland, very strong words easily hurt people much more. So you have to be more cautious. And my husband always says that Polish people speak so fast. And he also tells me that it seems that you speak Polish so much faster than you speak Finnish. So there is some kind of tempo. But then on the other hand, I feel that people walk in Warsaw so much slower than in Finland. In Finland, we have a destination, and I have the feeling that I'm not the only one who walks fast and wants to be in the destination very fast. So there are all kinds of these kind of things, but...
Sounds really interesting. Let's talk about food, because Poles take it also very seriously. As you know, we love our cuisine. We're very proud of it. Is there something on a Polish table that you have genuinely adopted that you will miss after you leave?
Well, one of my favorites in Poland is zupa szczawiowa. And I just, especially when my friend who is from Suwałki, when she makes it, it's just so great.
Yeah, it's popular in Eastern Poland mostly.
Yeah. And I mean, it's very simple. And because always when I go to visit her, I ask her, can you make me szczawiową? And then she says, but it's like a celebration when you come and this is like an everyday soup. And I said, I don't care. But I just love it. But I also like kaszanka very much. I studied in Tampere in Finland, and that's the kaszanka city of Finland. We call it black sausage, and it's just great. But they're quite close, not totally close. But I'm also a little bit proud that I can also eat flaki. So, because that is something what we really don't have in Finland.
That's
and
great.
I like the staples like pierogi and bigos and such things. So, yeah.
I know that you enjoy outdoor sport, that you like forests, water. Have you found a Polish equivalent of Finnish nature, which is obviously incredible?
Yeah, I have to say I was in Białowieża during the long weekend in the beginning of May, and I have been there a long time ago. But this time we had a really good guide with us. I went there with my husband. I wanted to show him the place. And we were there just before the long weekend, so it was still not filled with tourists. And it was just so great. And we saw the bison in the nature. I mean, it was just so great. And we went to the primeval forest. And this guide was just so great because he could tell from the droppings of, and they said, oh, this is from the wolf. And looking at it a little bit, it's been eating this and that. And it was amazing. So
yeah, the Białowieża National Park is really magnificent. This is something truly extraordinary.
Yeah. And it is all these stories, what it means and why this forest is like it is. And I just loved it. And the Polish forest is different, but it's still beautiful. But I was just thinking to myself, because I live in a very city center of Warsaw on Chopina Street. And then just next to me, there is the Ujazdowski Park and Łazienki. And I go there every day. And the parks are different in Finland, because in Finland we have more trees and less flowers and things. So they're very beautiful places. And then we have the Finskie Domki just there. And this is a great for the Finnish embassy to have them so close and then tell this story, how they were brought here as war reparations through Soviet Union and the first newly built part of Warsaw, where the people who started to plan the reconstruction of rebuilding of Warsaw. I think that this unites. We have lots of common things in history between our countries, but I just love this story that Finland was very concretely also there when the new era in Poland started after the war, and I think it gives also hope for the Ukraine and Ukrainians in that sense that parts of Poland were so badly destroyed and now you're back.
Yes.
It will take a long time, but at least it shows that it's possible.
It's possible.
In that sense, it's also a good story.
Yes. And I'm sure you must have known, you must have learned about that we in Poland love muminki. We call them muminki because we treat them, as if they were Polish. The mumins in English, obviously. Is there something like that in Finland? Something which Finns know about Poland, associate with Poland?
Well, apart from vodka, there are a couple of things. And Miś Uszatek is something that has been shown in Finnish TV. And I think that quite a lot of Finnish kids know that. He's called Nalle Luppakorva in Finnish. And the song has been also translated. And there is Bolek and Lolek. And this kind of things that brings Poland very close. But of course, the film industry also with Kieślowski and others. So very famous Polish films. But I have to say that at the moment, then also in literature, there is like Olga Tokarczuk or Sapkowski. They are widely, or Szymborska also translated into Finnish. But at least I have the feeling, this is not a scientific study, but it seems to me that more Finnish titles are now translated into Polish than vice versa. So that's also good for us. But I mean, I think that it's very important also that this kind of exchange is there, that we read the literature of other countries. And
yes, definitely. And you're leaving your Warsaw posting very soon. I wanted to ask you then, what is something that will travel back with you to Finland or maybe somewhere further? Something, by that I mean, metaphorically speaking.
I feel that Poland is the second home country for me. I have spent here so many years, and I feel pretty integrated through that I know the language and I know the culture. And as I say, that Poland and the Polish people have made a little nest in my heart. And it travels with me there everywhere, wherever I am. And it is sometimes so that when I'm in Poland, I little bit miss things like my summer cottage and family and things like that, doing kayaking on the Baltic Sea. And then when I go back home, then I miss Poland and these great things, what I can do here and the great people that I've gotten to know here. So, but it feels very much to me also like a home country.
I wish you then a beautiful farewell. Of course, we here appreciate your efforts to strengthen Polish-Finnish relations. Thank you very much for this interview. I was your host today, Agnieszka Łaszczuk, from the English section of Polish Radio, from the external service of Polish Radio. And I had the honor and the pleasure to host Finland's ambassador to Poland, Päivi Laine. Thank you so much for the interview.
Dziękuję bardzo, było bardzo miło.
Dziękuję.